Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joe and this is Big Joe Trucking. This week I thought I'd do a video on the 6 key tips or top tips for when you start in this industry and you're a new pass, and hopefully makes your life easier as you continue into work and stuff like that. So starting off at point number 1. Your kit bag. Now, everyone that starts in this industry, for some reason, they don't assume some self-sense of responsibility. And by that, I mean, if you were working in retail and you had, you know your hours and whatnot, you would normally at least get yourself a lunchbox and something to put your kit in when you go to and from work. But for some reason, I see a lot, and this happened a lot in security as well, a lot of babysitting. So employers aren't responsible to babysit you. They do have a duty of care, and they do have a responsibility to provide you with, sufficient PPE and stuff like that. But if you're a new driver, it's very likely you're going to start off working agency and stuff like that. So give yourself the best chance and prepare yourself a kit bag. Now that kit bag, just make sure it's something, because you're highly unlikely to have a regular truck, I'd suggest preparing 2 kit bags. 1 if you've got a tramp out, and 2 is like your day bag. So if you know you're going to be tramping out, you'd have in like that kit bag a wash kit, a towel, a change of clothes, a pillow, a suit, a sleeping bag. Just something that would obviously give you comfort when you're staying out. Unless you're a bit of a scruff and you're happy just to sleep as you are and work as you are, then that's up to you, each to their own. But I'd recommend having a kit bag for tramping. And then the second bag would be your daily kit bag. Now, what do I have in my daily kit bag? I got all sorts, but because I'm in this truck frequently, I can leave it here. However, when I was on agency and I'd be jumping in and out of different trucks and stuff, I always had to make sure I had certain equipment with me. So the first bit of equipment I'd recommend is a decent mobile phone with a good amount of data. And that's not because I suggest you should be on your phone, because I don't. However, you want to make sure that when you are traveling around, you've got means to contact people. Also, you've got means of being able to look at maps, download maps if you're in areas that are going to be in low signal. And also, if you're going to be waiting at somewhere for a long time, then you've got the opportunity to listen to music, watch a film. It's just a comfort thing more than anything. So a decent mobile phone. Some of the next bits, so make sure you get yourself a hard hat. You might not necessarily be somewhere that needs it. However, more and more sites are requesting that you wear one, even though they might not be like a building site and things like that. However, you need to get one and just have it with you. So a hard hat and safety glasses, don't forget those. So you can pick up those things pretty cheap. Like, I think you can get both for less than a tenner. Like, when it comes to PPE, most of these things are quite well priced. There's not really much of an excuse to say, oh, I can't afford it, because you can. Yeah. And if you've come through the job centre and stuff, you can always ask the job centre for a little bit of financial support, and they'll give you, I think they can give you like grants for safety equipment. So this is just a bare basic guide. obviously my kit bag's a lot more extensive because I got home comforts, but this is a bare base, baseline. A high vis, yellow or orange, it doesn't matter, but I know a lot of sites aren't keen on other colors. So, blue, black, pink, green. Just stick to the 2 colors that are most common around sites. You only need one. So, and make sure it fits. Make sure you can do it up at the front, because there are sites that do require that. But at least you've got a high vis. You only need a high vis vest. You don't need trousers and all that sort of stuff. That normally is like a specialist sort of role. Next thing for your kit bag, safety boots. Make sure you've got a good set of safety boots that are, one, comfortable to drive in, or if, like many drivers, they take their shoes off and wear trainers and stuff. But get yourself a good set of safety boots. Make sure they got the support on the ankle, and they also got the toe caps. Again, there are a large number of sites that require it. So when you see some people walking around in trainers and stuff, you just don't want to be the guy that gets told off on the forecourt. So you can wear trainers in the cab. Well, it depends on who you work for. But as long as when you're out of the cab, you've got your safety shoes on, because 90% of sites require it. Now, the next thing I'd recommend is sunglasses, and make sure they're polarized. You don't want to be driving on the road without some, because especially as soon as that morning sun hits the horizon and it blinds you, it's really difficult to drive. Also, the same in the evening. Hello, mate. Same in the evening. You don't want to be driving and have the sun blasting in your face. You've got some visors and stuff, but they can't do the job fully. And even during the day, like, it can be so bright. I don't know any driver without sunglasses. You don't need to get an expensive set. I mean, these ones, I think, were only 15 quid off of Amazon. Like, normally, I always wear Oakley's. That's my go-to brand. But being like work glasses, I just didn't want anything like overly expensive that could either, get damaged, lost, stolen, any number of reasons really. And there's 2 additional bits of equipment that I do recommend. One is get yourself a box of taco rolls. It's basically 3 rolls of paper. Like, it looks almost like till roll. You can order this sort of stuff off Amazon, but get yourself a box and keep it with you, just in case. And the other thing is a tire depth, like tread reader. We can all find little tips and tricks, like, use a 20 pence piece or what. There's so many different ways that people look at these things, but just make sure that you are looking after number one and that you're checking your tires and stuff correctly. Nobody can fault you, and you'd have the right tool for the job. Again, these sort of things cost less than a £5. Get yourself a decent water bottle. It's always good to stay hydrated when you're driving. And finally, a decent sat nav. Now, you can think you can use Google on your phone. There are apps, like truck apps, that you can use, but they all depend on, obviously, data, first of all. And there are a lot of places you might drive where signal is very, limited. The other thing is that a truck nav is specifically designed for this job in mind. So it has things like weight ratio, weight, height, width, length, all these things you can program into the sat nav to make sure that it gives you the best possible route. That doesn't see you going under bridges. It doesn't see you, under bridges that are too low. It doesn't see you going through roads that are too narrow. yeah, I think is a crucial part of the equipment. It is going to be a little bit more expensive and maybe something to work towards, but it is a godsend once you own one. I personally got the Garmin Diesel 1010 or Diesel 1010. I just wanted the 1010 because the bigger screen, but the 710 is the exact same thing, just a slightly smaller screen. There are like TomTom, like trucker sat navs. They're the two most popular, but there are plenty of other brands that you can use. I just highly recommend getting one because I'll be honest, I couldn't be without it. I know there's going to be a lot of people that say, oh, learn to read a map. I'm very good at map reading. I mean, I grew up reading maps through different activities, you know, as a child. However, the last time I read an actual map, a paper map anyway, was probably back at orientation in school. So I know there are people out there that say learn to read a map, or stick to the old way, etc. We are in the 21st century. This equipment is available to make our jobs easier, so just use it. But if you do want to stick to reading a paper map, well, make sure you understand it. So moving on to point number 2. Point number 2 is when you're applying for work, apply for the class you have just passed for. Now, so many people say, oh, start off on class 2, work your way up to class 1, etc, etc, etc. They are two different vehicles. They drive different, they react different, and you need to learn more about the vehicle you have just passed in. So if you've passed in a class 2, you won't be able to drive a class 1. But if you passed in a class 2, you're not going to go and apply for a job at Amazon and work as a van driver. You're gaining zero experience on how that vehicle works. You're gaining nothing. All you're doing is slowly forgetting how that vehicle learns to drive, or how to drive that vehicle. If you've passed in a class 1, class 1 is your C+E. That allows you to have a trailer, also known as articulated. You can drive a class 2, but I don't understand why you would want to. Like, I know there are jobs available that pay just as well. However, when you drive a class 1, you need to learn how that vehicle moves and how it bends, and especially when it comes to things like reversing and also the space requirements, etc. Just don't get sucked in to the faff of having to, you work your way up the different classes. There's no point in doing your license for either one of those vehicles if you're not going to drive that vehicle. That's my personal reflection on it. I know, again, there's going to be a lot of views that are against that, but you're not gaining anything by not driving what you've learned to drive. Experience is gained with time behind the wheel. So that's just food for thought. Point number 3 is the VDR, which is a vehicle data record, or in some cases, the vehicle daily record. You're the sole participant responsible to make sure that vehicle is safe when it goes out on the road. So when you're checking the tires, you're checking them, the minimum tread depth, and cross-referencing it with the company's minimum tread depth. You're checking the oil, you're checking the water, you're checking for bumps, scratches, bruises, anything that is wrong with that vehicle that deems it not safe to take on the road. If it is, if any of those things occur, you need to speak to your transport managers, or if obviously you're working for yourself, which I highly doubt at this stage, then you're getting it looked at by a mechanic straight away. But you need to make sure that the vehicle has been fully checked, that you've got all the equipment you need on board, like all the straps required, any locks, seals. The list is quite possibly endless, but you will have a record to follow, which normally most companies like you to do. You always do this at the start of your shift and the end of your shift. I just need to thank this driver a second. Thank you. He flashed me in earlier. But you need to make sure that the vehicle is up to standards, and that's again at the start and end of shift. Also checking to make sure that there's enough fuel and AdBlue. Don't ever leave it low or empty for the next driver. It's really unprofessional, it's not courteous, and to be honest, it's just a bit of a crappy thing to do. It doesn't take long to refill. The only time a lot of people find it acceptable to left it low is if you were close to running out of driving time, you know. So just look after the vehicle. The vehicle will look after you, and also it helps when it comes to your colleagues. Look after the vehicle to help them. That's how you build a good work environment as well. So yeah. Now then, point number 4, learning about your trailer and how to secure the load. So, when you're applying for different roles, each role will have a different way to secure the load. Whether you're learning to secure that load by nets, whether it's straps, just closing doors, baffle bars, it could be any number of things that you learn to secure the load with. But not very often, especially when you work as an agency driver, do you get taught how to do these things. So when it comes to using ratchet straps, research how to secure ratchet straps and how to use them. When it comes to especially like netting, so a lot of like the tippers and stuff, they need nets over the top. There is plenty of material to learn how to do these things. But when it comes to driving these different vehicles, or sorry, different trailers, you might find you need to learn about that. So whether you're driving curtain siders, so you need to learn about how the curtains work and how to clip down the sides, how to remove the bars. When it comes to containers, you need to learn about how to twist the locks, how to shorten the trailer, how to apply seals. I mean, container driving's pretty straightforward. Then you got like refrigeration work, so a lot of the time that's like your food, so RDC work, where you need to understand the fridges, how to make sure they're set, how to make sure they got fuel, and also things like baffle bars, and they've even got straps inside sometimes. So there's so many different ways to secure a load, and it's important you learn how to do it for your specific role. Don't get caught out. And if in doubt, you can always ask the company you work for. A lot of the time they're pretty good. A lot of them will teach you. It's very rare I've ever known anybody to be told like, you know, anything negative, or, you know, they're being a bit silly, etc. So if in doubt, ask. You can't go wrong that way. Point number 5 is all about observations. So understanding everything about the vehicle around you and the vision. So you've got mirrors. Now you need to make sure you understand about your mirrors and use them, because this is going to be the difference between you having a long, healthy career or ending up in prison or being heavily fined, etc. You don't want to go down that road. You want to obviously have a prosperous career. So you want to make sure you're using your mirrors effectively, and that's why I've got an overhead camera. So this camera is attached to my baseball cap. I don't need to touch it, but it records exactly what's going on with my head. So as you can see here, we've got mirror 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then you've got number 7, which is the overhead or over shoulder, sorry. Very often you need to be checking these, and I know it sounds like I'm probably teaching you to suck eggs, but you got 4, well there's more, but you got 4 crucial blind spots that you can't see if anything's in it. And one of them is down the side here. You can't see if anyone's down the side of your vehicle unless you check your mirrors, and even then sometimes a cyclist can disappear. You've also got the front of your vehicle, so there's a few meters in front of you where a car could actually almost disappear, and that's from where the dash is down. So if somebody was walking in front of my vehicle, I wouldn't be able to see them, but I've got mirror number 4 there, so I can see. You've got your over shoulder, which is quite common in most cars anyway, but again, an entire lorry can disappear in that blind spot, so you need to be checking. And then you've got the 4th blind spot, which is at the rear, which is behind your trailer. Vehicles disappear there all the time, and is incredibly important. You don't just decide, oh, I'm going to smack the brake on. I mean, anybody that does that anyway is a bit silly, but vehicles, they don't understand the braking distance required in lorries. They don't understand that when you put the brakes on, it's going to be a heavy stop. So you need to be mindful of those around you. If this view makes you a little bit seasick, I do apologise. I do have a couple of point of view videos coming out, so this just gives you a little insight as to what it's going to look like in the future. Number 6, the tachograph. You need to make sure you understand the tachograph in and out, as in your working time directive and your driving time directive. Your working time directive is the thing that's going to catch most people out, and that is to make sure you've had your 15-minute break in a 6-hour period. So if you start at 6 o'clock, you know you need to have a 15-minute break before 12 o'clock. However, if you're driving in that time and you've driven for 4.5 hours, you must stop. You must have a 45-minute break, because you need to have half an hour for your driving time and 15 for your working time. I'm not going to go too much into the tacho and the rules and how to use it and stuff like that, because that's something I want to save for another video, which hopefully I might be able to attach at the end of this video later on. But there are plenty of other other YouTubers that have done that sort of content. You can find out how to use the tachograph. You can use Google. There is so much information that you can't really say, oh, I don't know, because you are responsible. And if you pick up infringements, you pick them up. But the DVSA will not like it one bit, and neither will your employer, if you are doing it too frequent, or frequent at all. Like once, yeah, it's a mistake if it's only very, very little, but if you're driving for 5 hours, there is no excuse for that. So be smart, just learn about the tacho before you get in the vehicle. Before you even apply for a job, learn about the tacho and make sure you know it. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, that like button, and I hope to keep making videos for you guys. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.